Welcome all my monster bass buddies. Here we go on another adventure with deer jerky in the oven. We can make deer jerky in 1.5 to 2 hours, depending on how your oven heats and cools. So let's get started. What you're going to need is 1 tablespoon, 1 thin aluminum cookie sheet, full size, 1 box of round toothpicks, a meat strainer, and of course your jerky that you've been marinating for 3 days. Now, what I like to do is take the jerky, just dip that stuff out by hand, put it in the strainer. Now I have stirred this very well before I started taking it out to put it in the strainer. So now we've got the jerky in a strainer, draining off the excess juice. That makes it cook a little bit faster. Let it strain real well. Now on the oven, you'll put your bottom rack down to the bottom of the oven. Your top rack up as high as it'll go. Give your meat plenty of room to hang. Then you'll take the cookie sheet and set it in there. The cookie sheet is very important. If you don't have the cookie sheet in there, all of the juices from the jerky drips down on your burner, smokes your whole house up. You can't even see inside. I can tell you, I had a friend that do it and left the cookie sheet out. Called me and said the fire department was on the way to the house. So, all right, now you've got your cookie sheet in. You got your jerky marinate or draining. There's your spoon. Now we need the toothpicks. So another thing that is really good to have is a chair. So we're going to throw a few toothpicks out here. And then I'm going to show you how to hang it. Okay, now a chair is really nice because this takes a few minutes. The meat we had this time was awful thin slices, so we're going to have small pieces of jerky. What you do is you start hanging it from the back of the oven to the front. And in our previous video, we showed the marinade recipe and the slicing of the jerky. You want to have the slices all the same thickness, and that helps it cook more evenly. And you just hang it all in the oven like this. When you're hanging it, you don't want one piece of meat touching another. If they touch each other, it causes them not to dry in between. So you need to make sure that when you hang it, it's separate and not touching anything. And usually when we're cooking this, we've used a back ham. This was a small pieces off of a front shoulder. You can use any part of the deer. I've used the back hams, I've used the front shoulders, I've used the tenderloins. The tenderloins don't seem to work as well because in the marinade it becomes pretty much falls apart. Doesn't really work well for hanging it. Now, if you could see this, our slices are about as thick as a thick sliced piece of bacon. Okay. Alrighty, we're going to sign off for a minute. Hang this meat. We'll come back to you as soon as we get it all hung. It takes about 15-20 minutes to hang it. And then we'll show you the process of cooking it. And we'll also show you the process of eating it. Alrighty, here we are hanging our last piece of jerky. There we are. Now we're going to show you how to set it up to cook. First thing you gotta do is slide the bottom tray and the top tray in together so the drips will stay on the on the cookie sheet. All right, we got that done. All right, now we've got the meat all hung. The drip tray's in there. All the meat's over the top of the drip tray. If you get the meat off the side of the drip tray and it drips on your burner, it's going to smoke. All right, so first thing you do is go to close the door. Take your tablespoon, put in the upper corner of your door, and let it close on it where it props the door open about 1/4 of an inch. Okay? Then you go to your oven, set your oven on 150 to 200. Now, depending on how your oven cooks, you'll have to experiment a little bit with that to make it get at just the perfect temperature, because if you set it too hot, it burns the outside edge before your meat gets dry. If you set it too low, it takes 2-3 hours to dry it. So I found around 150, 200 degrees is a good temperature. You put it on there and leave it for 1.5 hours. Check it. Check the texture of your meat. If it's as dry as you want, there you are. If it's not, you can let her dry a little longer. I've even taken pieces out that were done and left pieces in that still needed to cook some more.
Hello, welcome back to Captain Jack's Kitchen. I'm Jayla, and we're gonna check the jerky. So take your spoon out, and you need to use it to pull this out, because if not, you'll burn your hand.
Oh, looking good.
Let's try it. Delicious. It's the best deer jerky in the world.
In 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
And we're off to try some new customers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello, Monster Bass Buddies. We are here at Myersville for the jerky tasting.
We have Barry Myers
Let's see what we got.
checking it out.
That's really good jerky. Get your thumbs up.
Here we are, Captain Jack. We're at another client's house trying out the jerky. We're gonna give them a taste. What they think about it.
Hey, I'm Andy, Jack's daughter. Oh, it's good this time.
Doug that loves turkey.
Do we get to keep this bag? This is the true test, you two.
Oh,
Do we get to keep this bag, Captain
Sure.
Jack? Sure, he said as he looks down at his dinner I cooked him.
I traded an Angelato for it.
that might be the best batch ever.
It's not tough at all. When I bite.
I like it. It's got a good peppery spice, but yet still mild.
This really isn't bad. I eat that. And go, that's good.
All right, all my Monster Bass buddies. I've given up my lifelong recipe and my process of cooking jerky for y'all to enjoy. So take these 2 videos and run with them. It's Captain Jack signing off.